Parking. Many will ask why we are talking about parking when this channel is dedicated to road safety. It seems like a childish topic, doesn't it? Who doesn't know how to draw and execute the parking of a vehicle? Everyone knows, so everyone knows how to park and navigate roundabouts. Except for my neighbor who needs 18 minutes and 40 movements to park a Fiat Uno laterally. If you're a passenger, you can die. Out of boredom, of course. Although it may seem like a simple and harmless issue, parking and accessing a vehicle in the roadway area can have repercussions both in terms of safety and fluidity. Most urban street parking is on the side of the road on the right, and on the left for one-way roads, and the parking spaces can be parallel to the axis of the road, perpendicular to the axis of the road, oblique to the axis of the road, and here we have two models. At an acute angle to the axis of the road. At an obtuse angle to the axis of the road. What is the most efficient parking model in terms of safety and traffic flow? Some may ask what importance the parking architecture has, without knowing that it is very important, both for traffic flow and especially for safety. Is there any difference in terms of safety between parking models? Let's see. Parking parallel to the axis of the road. These are the most common parking models, but the number of parking spaces is smaller compared to other models, due to the fact that a parking space consumes the lengths of all parked cars and an additional space between them. Entering the parking space is done safely. Immediately after the driver notices an available spot, they will stop the car in the traffic lane, and the cars behind are obliged to stop behind them, and to maneuver the vehicle, the driver has visibility in the rearview mirrors. Exiting the parking space is easy and safe. The driver has visibility both when entering and exiting through the rearview mirrors. Accessing the trunk is done safely from the parking space and not from the roadway. However, there is a risk of the driver not being noticed in time on the roadway when entering or exiting the vehicle. Parking perpendicular to the axis of the road. It is a commonly used model and provides a greater number of parking spaces compared to parallel parking. But it is the most inefficient parking model as it presents the greatest risks in operation. Most drivers will want to access the vacant parking space by entering it head-on. No vehicle will be able to make the turn and enter the parking space from first lane of the direction of travel due to the vehicle's turning angle and the required radius of the circle, which is too small. To perform this maneuver, a larger turning radius is required. Therefore, those who want to occupy the parking space will have to exceed the lane limit and thus will have to either perform the maneuver from the second lane or from the opposite lane. This means slowing down traffic in more than one lane. Even for those who enter from the second lane or from the opposite lane, they may need to perform forward or backward maneuvers to properly fit into the parking space. When exiting the parking lot, drivers of vehicles parked perpendicular to the edge of the road will not have visibility to ensure that no vehicle is traveling in first lane at that moment in order to back out of the parking space. Furthermore, if a commercial vehicle without windows or a taller vehicle is parked to the right of their own vehicle, visibility is reduced to zero. So entering the traffic lane will be blind, meaning the driver will not know if any vehicle is traveling at that moment. The risk of accidents is maximum. As can be seen, you can only see the driver's seat for the first vehicle in the lineup, and only this driver will have visibility of traffic in first lane when exiting the parking lot. For the other parked vehicles, the driver's seat is hidden by the vehicles parked to the right. You also cannot see the driver's seat of the parked cars, and the drivers of the parked cars cannot see you. The exit from the parking lot will also be in the second lane, or on the opposite side, possibly even at a wider angle. The driver's entry and exit from the car is done safely, but accessing the trunk for loading or unloading goods is done at the risk of the driver's presence in the roadway, in the path of vehicles in first lane. The risk is increased during nighttime. If the driver is accompanied by a child, the risk of an accident is much higher, as a child does not realize the risk of their presence on the roadway. Diagonal parking on the road axis. Parking at an acute angle to the road axis is a common parking model because more parking spaces can be configured than in the parallel model with the road axis. And it seems to be a model favored by architects and road administrators. This parking model ensures direct and rapid access to the parking space, so drivers can enter the parking space without any difficulty. Problems and risks arise when exiting. When exiting the parking lot, sometimes there is a correct exit trajectory, while other times it is necessary to exceed the space of the first lane and back up into the second lane or on the opposite side. Drivers of vehicles parked at this angle have reduced visibility in a very small space in front of the corner of the car, to ensure that no vehicle is moving in first lane at that moment, in order to back out of the parking space. As can be seen, we do not have visibility from the driver's seat of the parked vehicles, which means that their drivers will not see us when they intend to exit the parking lot. Additionally, if a commercial vehicle without windows or a taller vehicle is parked to the right of our own vehicle, visibility is reduced almost to zero. So entering the traffic lane will be almost blind. The risk of accidents is high. Accessing the trunk for loading or unloading goods is done at the risk of the driver's presence in the roadway, in the path of vehicles in first lane. The risk is increased during nighttime, and the presence of a child also represents a major risk. Parking at an obtuse angle relative to the axis of the road is a very rarely seen parking model, although it offers the highest safety and best flow. Entry to the parking space is made safely. As soon as the driver notices a free space, they will stop the car in the traffic lane, and the cars behind are obliged to stop behind. At the exit, regardless of the type of vehicles parked laterally, all drivers will have maximum visibility when starting the car, being able to check if other vehicles are circulating in the first lane at that time. As can be seen, we have visual contact with all driving positions of the parked cars, and consequently, their drivers can see perfectly if a vehicle is circulating in the road lane to give it priority to pass. The access to the luggage is made from the sidewalk, and the access to the car is from the parking spot, without any risk for them or for the traffic safety. In conclusion, oblique parking at an obtuse angle to the axis of the road is the safest and easiest to access. If you understood the idea, I recommend that you share the link to this video with the mayors of your localities. And to make me feel good too, press that like button so I can have some satisfaction for the time spent. Thank you.